Hello everybody and welcome back to Tlatoani, where last episode we started working on a lot of amenities, and things are going pretty well for us, ultimately. We do need to bring up our culture. A lot. Now, the completion of the Great Temple, which is almost done, will significantly help that, even with its awful symmetry. But we'll see what else we need after that's completed. It's very, very close to being done, so that looks great. We're probably going to build more temples and the like, but for now, it seems fine. Tlaloc is displeased by our lack of devotion. Okay, we can definitely do something about that. So one thing I'd like to do is a shrine to Tlaloc, maybe about, this requires a scenic neighborhood. Here works, and that's strong symmetry. We'll do it there, and then what about over here? Well, we need to make sure that we have roads coming through like this, right? That definitely needs to happen. And then we can do a shrine to Tlaloc, maybe... This is strong symmetry. This is weak. This is weak. This is good. I'm going to do it here, and we'll connect it in like that. Okay, so that'll get us some additional coverage of Tlaloc. And I'm wondering about up over here. I don't think we have any coverage of Tlaloc up this way. So I think we probably do want to have some, perhaps about, not a temple necessarily, a shrine to Tlaloc about here. That's good symmetry. Yeah, that looks great. So that will get us coverage down this direction. Excellent. So we'll get that underway, and once those are built, then that will definitely help our culture score somewhat. So looking in at our culture, we can see that education is pretty okay, actually. Religion is only 9, diversion is only 9. Both of those certainly need work. We need 70. So I think that we're probably going to need to build some temples. A temple to Tlaloc down this direction actually makes some sense to me. But I'm thinking about its reach at this point. This reaches most of these farmhouses. It's only average symmetry, but honestly, let's do it. Let's get that underway, and Tlaloc will be much happier now, I'm sure. So that looks good. In terms of our maze, there's no major concern there. So let's look at some of these houses out over here and think about prosperity. What do we need? Everything we need, everything we need. Pottery, everything we need, everything we need. We're good, 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 and good. So most of this is fine. We need pottery here. And pottery is provided by this border yard. So that just means that we haven't yet fully saturated our pottery demand, right? And the question is, do we need more kilns? Well, let's take a quick peek at what we've got. It's not fully saturated yet, and we need to go into our pottery here, and we need to look at our consumptions. Last year, there were 54 pottery units that were consumed, and we produced 131. So we are not saturating our production at this point. That's good to know. It's still getting distributed out, so that seems absolutely fine. Civil service out over here. Actually, yes, that is a good call. So we should do a collector around here. It requires a scenic neighborhood. And apparently it's not considered scenic even with all these gardens. So let's go ahead and run stone roads down through here like this. Through these areas anyway. And that should hopefully make this scenic enough. Yeah. So we'll get that going. We'll put in a collector there, and then we could think about another collector. I don't want to put it here necessarily. We just don't have a lot of room here because this is 2 tiles smaller than it should have been. And that's my own fault, of course. But we could also consider putting in a collector down over this direction. It needs a scenic neighborhood, but for now, that'll do. Okay. So that looks good for the moment. I want to check in on these homes up over here. They need cloth. We did set up some cloth So that's absolutely fine. We are importing Make-We here, and they are going to be weaved into cloth by these cloth weavers. This then is accepted here, and that's already distributed out to the markets. So that should be reasonably fine. We're starting to see upgrades over here. And we can see our prosperity jump to 53 and our culture to 52. So our religion is now at plus 24. Our diversion is still only at 9. So let's look at our diversion map. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So we have an alcove here. I wouldn't mind putting in potentially like a plaza or something up over this way. I don't suppose there's a decent symmetry spot up over here. This is divine symmetry right here. It's also kind of terrible, but sure, let's get that in. And then we can think about another plaza out over this way, potentially. This is good symmetry. I'm going to do that. That'll reach this. That'll reach this. It won't necessarily reach up over here. So that's understood. We can put in an alcove just up over here to help out with this area a little bit. And then down here, I definitely think that we do need an alcove down this direction somewhere. I'm going to put one here. And then I'm also thinking about having one about here. Yeah, that seems about right there. So let's go ahead and do that. That'll boost up our culture. And possibly also our prosperity. So that will definitely be a little bit expensive to get those under construction, but that'll be fine. We do need to boost our population more as well. So that's understood. I'm going to come in down over here. I'm going to extend this as a stone road. And then let's go ahead and put in some common homes right here. So that's 2, 3, 4. And then we can do 5 and 6, although this is going to need to be connected like that. I don't love it, but it'll do for now. And then we can put in some base level services over this way as well. So we can do a well dipper here. This would be a sweeper and a sentry post. And then I'm also going to put in a dentist right over here. I kind of like it here because that'll reach somewhat down over this way. Okay, so we'll get that ongoing. That'll boost up our population somewhat. And of course, also upgrading these homes will boost our population. So this is now ambience that's a problem out over here. Needing cloth, ambience, cloth. Yeah, we're working on the cloth. So that seems reasonably fine. I want to check in on these cloth weavers. Producing, 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 and producing. So that looks good. Now these homes out over here, they need access to a market, and we could absolutely put in a small market in a couple of locations. This is a decent one, actually. So if we put this in here, this would be served by this porter yard, which also provides pottery and cotton. So that seems great. We'll get that in there. That seems absolutely wonderful. Prosperity is up to 62 out of 70 now. We do have that great temple finished. And the plaza is, of course, being utilized as well. So down over this direction, let's check in on our culture now. Diversion is up to 10%. Okay. We do have this House of Song, and that does provide diversion, but it doesn't provide the diversion directly. The plazas want a House of Song. So that's fine. We can definitely do that. So a House of Song can go in somewhere around here, I think. That's going to be blocking that road, isn't it? Let's not do it quite there. Maybe about here. That'll reach this plaza. So that looks good. And then that will also want a particular shrine. That is Tezcatlipoca. Okay. So we would go for... Where is it? Here it is. We go for one of these. Strong symmetry, divine symmetry. There we go. So that looks good. This plaza here also wants access to a shrine, and it doesn't reach this one. So let's put in a similar shrine out over here. This is strong symmetry. Good enough. We'll go with that. We've got this plaza down over here. This is weak symmetry. This is good symmetry. Now that's actually connected through the plaza, which is interesting. This is divine symmetry. We'll go with that. Okay, so that looks good. That will definitely boost that up, but we need a House of Song over here as well. So I'm going to run a stone road out and around about like this. And then the House of Song is probably going to end up going about here. And the House of Song wants supervision from the Royal Palace, but we'll see if it actually gets it. Cool. So that'll be relatively fine. That'll boost up the output of these plazas as those get finished. Some of our buildings need herbs to provide service. Some of our security venues are overstretched. Yeah. None of that is very surprising. We can absolutely be thinking about getting ourselves a sentry post somewhere around here. That'll help some of that. And I'm looking for other strained sentry posts. For now, it looks decent. Okay. So we've got our temple to Tlaloc, which apparently doesn't have a full complement of staff because it needs nobles. So in that regard, we could put a noble compound somewhere. Somewhere around here. Kind of like that. But that noble compound, it's going to want to be upgraded. So we'll see what all it needs for that. It should have base level services at this point, but it's going to want some other services. We may want to put a large market up over this way, potentially, about here. Literally right next to it. And that'll be fine for now. That'll be served by this border yard, which we can have be getting pottery and accepting cloth. So that seems reasonably fine. We may require more cloth weavers because I'm noticing that the amount of cloth in this border yard isn't very high, but we probably are just working on saturating our need for that right now. We'll see if we have more need. More clean water up over here? Yeah, I don't know that we're going to get that. We'll see. Because we don't really have access to it, right? Unless... maybe. Let's see here. Okay, so we've got the cistern, and unfortunately, that requires water from elsewhere, right? So I don't think we have any freshwater springs. Although it did say that we had access to fresh water, and, I mean, we have the lake, but I don't think that there's a way to get lake water into our cisterns, is the problem. So out over here, these are all just standard outcrops. Ah. Aha. Look at this guy. That's a freshwater spring there. Okay. So this is a freshwater spring over here. That means that we can get it over there. So, to that end, we're going to need to start upgrading well dippers. So we've got a well dipper here. We can think about a cistern about here, approximately. Where else do we have well dippers? This cistern is going to upgrade this well dipper, and of course it's going to need access to the clean water. We'll get that soon enough. We've got a well dipper here, and that would mean that we'd need a cistern. Actually, here would work. That seems fine. Now, we're going to have a bit of a problem getting water out over here. For the moment, we might not try too hard to get it to our farmhouses. So out over here, we've got a well dipper there. We can put this in right here. So we've got this well dipper, and then I think we have another one up over this way, right? I don't see it, if we do. Okay, I'm assuming we have a well dipper in here. Yeah, that's reached by this cistern. So that should be good. Okay. So I'm going to start bringing an aqueduct out over here, and this aqueduct is going to take the position of this road for right now. And I want that aqueduct to just kind of go out and around up over this way. And it can connect in like this to connect to that cistern. That's a long trip, no doubt about it, but let's do something like this. Aha. Those are going to need to be chinampa'd. Unless we wanted to go around them, which I kind of don't. So that'll be fine. And then, of course, we're going to need to have an aqueduct that goes all the way out over this way. So where were aqueducts again? Engineering. Okay. So if I remember correctly, we could just have the aqueduct be adjacent to it like this. And then that gives us our freshwater spring. So from here, we can bring this out over this direction. I kind of want to bring it up this way to about here. And then we can aqueduct causeway like this. But there's only so much that we can aqueduct causeway, right? That's an interesting direction to cross in. Okay, so if we reverse engineer this kind of and build this out over this way, right? It would need to come out like this, and then there's all of these Chinampa areas over here, which that's going to be a pain to get Chinampa'd, for sure. And then we can do an aqueduct causeway like that. And then our overall aqueduct would connect in... I don't like this. It would connect in basically with just a straight line here, right? So it would just go like this. And then this out over here, we would need to have some Chinampas. So this would go a Chinampa here, here, like this. Like that. And then out over here, of course, we would need to just get rid of this. This should be good enough. So that seems fine. And then, of course, we need to have roads alongside these. So for right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and we're just going to take this road like this. We're going to take this on the inside, about like that. And then I'm going to have it cross over right here, and then it's going to come down over this direction and stick to this side here. And then it's going to build its way out to there. Now that's going to take a long time to get that all built. But out over here, I want to do the same thing where this road is going to head down kind of like this, and then we're going to do something kind of like that, connecting in there, and then out over here, like that. Okay, that should give us the aqueducting that we need, but we know that we're going to need standard causeways out over this way. So I'm going to put that in here, and we'll see about maybe getting a causeway in here as well. There we go. Something about like that. And then this is currently a lake tile, which is, you know, not ideal. We can definitely just run around like this, and that'll be fine. Okay, so these are now going to be reachable. This is a dirt road here. That should be removed and should be replaced with a causeway. So I'm going to take all of this causeway here out, and we're going to see about doing it this way. And then take this out and see if we can connect up the causeway on this side. Yes, like that. Okay, so that's going to be a significant undertaking. No doubt about that. We can also do a cistern out over here, running this road out like that, and then putting in a cistern right about here. And the aqueduct here would just head up over this direction and connect in about like this. There are a couple of spots here where this doesn't actually go in, so we can just do something like that. This spot is awful. Like that. Okay, it doesn't look the best, but it will deliver us the water that we need once we get it built eventually. That's a lot of stone and timber and clay. That's a lot of resources, just in general. So we'll let that go for a while. That is absolutely going to take some time to work through. Seems fine, though. We've got a fair amount in stockpile, and we'll definitely be able to get some of that going. So that sounds good. Once we get this down here built, like the roadway, that's going to make things a lot easier. Some of our religious venues are overcrowded, and Jipe Totec is upset at us. So we could probably use an additional Jipe Totec. Oh, that's divine symmetry. Let's put that there, and then maybe one down over here. That's strong symmetry. We'll call that good. I don't want to build too much right now. So we'll get that going. That will be fine for the moment. I think our main issue right now is population and prestige. Indeed. But I think our prestige is just naturally going to slowly rise. Now, we are probably going to need additional housing, and these guys want education. Fair enough. Where are we going to put it, though? We can put it out over this direction and have this guy connect in up here and put some education in out this way. But that doesn't reach. We could take out some gardens here and put it here. And that is, I think, exactly what I'm going to do. So we'll do that, and as those get removed, we'll replace the gardens out over here. We always knew that we would very likely move where these were located. So that's up to 30 at this point. Okay, yep, that looks good. And then we can put in our education institution right there. Perfect. So that'll do just fine for now. Our prosperity is at 64 out of 70. Our culture is, actually, they're both at 65. Culture just went up to 66. So that's looking good. We are definitely making some progress on getting all of this built. But we do also absolutely need to get some work done over here. That's a lot of work that needs to happen over this way. But that will get us some clean water brought in, so that's huge. This outcrop I'm going to remove. And we're going to put the piece of road right here. We have plenty of stone coming in, so I'm not too concerned about that. So what's our construction deficit right now? Our construction deficit is 3,200 clay, 1,800 timber, and 770 stone. The stone is actually the least of the concerns. The clay is a major concern. But a lot of that, I think, is these chinampas out over here. So that's, I think, all fine. I'm not too concerned about it. We're making our way through this pretty quickly, actually. So that's looking good. There's a fire in the city. Yeah, that's fine. So at this point, my suspicion is we don't need to do anything else to boost our prosperity and our culture. The prestige and population, those do need to come up somewhat. Now, I'm wondering if we need access to a barracks out over here. Interesting. So we have a barracks out here, but I guess they want one out over here. We can do that. A barracks can fit in. It can't fit there quite. We could put it on this side out over here, kind of like this, and put this road across like that. And this will reach these, but it won't reach these. But maybe if we do this. Ah, yeah. That'll reach all of this. Okay. Now, that won't have much for nobility over here. We should probably consider putting in a noble compound, and we could put that just right over here. That seems okay for now. Okay, so let's get that going. That will be absolutely fine. We've got a lot of aqueduct yet to build here. And these chinampas out over here, they also need to be built. They're of a very high priority, of course. So that's understood. Up over this direction, these chinampas also need a little bit of clay and timber, but they have seen significant progress being made. So this is great. We're absolutely making progress here. What is our current timber, or rather clay deficit? Our clay deficit is the main problem here, and it's 3,000. We could certainly think about putting in some more clay pits. I think I'm going to. I'm going to put in a clay pit about here. And then one out over here. So we'll need to connect this up like so. I'm assuming this porter yard reaches them. Yeah. So we'll just increase our clay production by 50%. That should be sufficient. Mostly we just need to get through this clay deficit, right? And that should be absolutely fine. We've got lots of timber in stock right now. I'm not too concerned about timber. Clay is the main issue. So our aqueducts are heading all the way out there, and we're definitely making progress on getting our aqueducts built. This is actually happening a lot faster than I thought it would. So that seems great. Down over this way, we need access to more nutrition. That's interesting. This granary does have maize and chili. It is lacking on fruit a little bit. Okay. Well, for the moment, I'm not that concerned about it. We do need to get our cisterns going, though. That's going to be a very big deal. But that'll happen very soon. Our prosperity is now at 68. Our culture is at 67. So that's absolutely noted. This temple is strained. That's not very surprising. But it is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we're going to wrap up construction of the aqueduct here. And we might end up wrapping up this city. We'll see. We've got a ways to go on that prestige still. It'll be interesting, for sure. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Dark Horse, Ethan Feldman, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, The Lounge STL, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video. And as always, I will see you all next time.